If you would be perfect, go sell what you possess and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. And come, follow me. This verse in the Gospel influenced the acts of St. Anthony, the father of the monks in the Egyptian desert. It also changed completely the life of St. Francis of Assisi, and many have been changed by the same word. Classically, it has led to the observance of the evangelical counsels, that is, the via recta, the cursus rectus ad Deum, the straight and narrow, the streamlined, where energy goes in one only direction. The other, the via communis, we find in the first answer of the Lord: observe the commandments. And therefore we have here a clear distinction already in the Gospel, that one has to save one's soul by keeping the commandments. They cannot be bypassed. But then there is this possibility of heroic sacrifice. Choices made in use have an impact over life and therefore eternity. It is in the fervour of youth that great choices are often made, for there is an ideal, a fire in that moment of freshness, which later on can lose its force. And we know the power of youth to do good and to see things through. But there are also shades. It's not just either or. And there are souls who keep this radicality without entering a religious order. On this day, I think of Ray, who died, actually yesterday it would have been the feast of Our Lady of Knock. But he, for instance, would take this gospel seriously when some poor person came up to him. He went one time, got all that remained in his account practically to get a pair of shoes for a poor man, and counted on Providence, which never let him down. He also gave all the energy that he had to promote our Blessed Lady, as one can see here in the very shopping centre of Navan. He would organise things and tell the police that they were organised and they would need protection. After he'd already made the plan, he knew what to do so as to make things happen. Indeed, when one is in trouble, call Ray was the common thing said with regard to getting things to move. He died in a very interesting way. He was preparing to watch the anniversary mass of his grandmother, Emily, who had died that very day the previous year, while Ray was singing in her ear Our Lady of Knock. And lo and behold, she came for him. He was about to watch on webcam her anniversary mass at Navan. And so it is that he, that anniversary, opened his eyes on the eternity for which his soul was ready. For he would always come to confession and get to church, to the Latin Mass, about half an hour before anyone else, walking all the way on foot from the other end of Navan. A lesson that we need to be prepared. The Scout motto is still valid on the level of the soul. Be prepared. A short life actually is a blessing, for one never grows old. Therese of Lisieux will always be remembered as a young lassie. Young martyrs are roses plucked, and so also is rain. But there are other roses plucked. Some years ago I was there in the field of their plucking. We had gone to Flanders. It was with our local bishop in Wales, and we were honouring St. John Roberts, who had been caught, a young priest, at the altar, red-handed, and hanged, drawn and quartered at Tyburn for being a priest. But we were also recalling someone else who had been in the area of Belgium. It was our local poet. His Wynne had died in the Somme, along with the poet of this area, Francis Ledwich, at the same time and in the same battle, and they're both buried together in the cemetery that we visited. On the way to the trench, bit by bit, our poet from our local area in Wales was writing the Cywydd, which is a very strict and long, disciplined poem. Yr Arwr was the title, the hero. And he fell. Someone saw him fall. The poem, however, did get to Wales and to the Eisteddfod, which that year was held in Birkenhead. It was in 1917. He had won the chair, which is the highest honour in Wales, and when it came to the usual command, Safed y bardd ar ei draed, let the poet stand up on his feet, he was not there, and so they draped the chair in black. Eisteddfod the black Eisteddfod. And just a few days ago something similar happened at the Eisteddfod, which was held this year in Wrexham. Someone from our area in the north had won the chair for the second time, and his Cywydd started with describing his children playing football, but then bit by bit changed tone. Cancer was coming in and he was getting weaker, and it was a very powerful Cywydd, a tearjerker. And indeed he did obey the command, Safed y bardd ar ei draed, but he was obviously hardly able to do so, and so he had to be escorted and helped to the stage to sit in the chair. He probably hasn't got much longer to live. But many die young, and the Flanders fields, now full of poppies, are full of young people. We were looking at the inscriptions. "My boy," said one cross. Many didn't have a name, but it referred to an infantry soldier anonymously. One said words to the effect, "I will think of my Geraldine as long as I have light." It was in 1917 that Father Willie Doyle, in that same atrocious battle, was saving, as far as he could, even Ulstermen who want his own flock to be anointed, and in so doing he was shelled and fell, a martyr of charity. And he was actually miraculously preserved until 1917, because he was always being fired at, but the bullets went round him. The Lord wanted him to have that noble end, a sign for our times. So Ray also has links with that. As my grandfather lost his brother, Uncle Willie, in a shell out there, so too Ray would have lost his great uncle, Private Patrick Masterson, who actually was very good carrying water to other soldiers and died in charity of those same bullets, what my grandfather used to call cannon fodder. There was a Welshman out there who was being briefed with the other soldiers as regards how to use the bayonet. The sergeant was telling them not to have mercy when they came to the other trench, for they were before their enemy. And the young Welshman of 22 dared to say, "How can he be my enemy when I never even saw his face?" He was called out, and for insubordination was put against the wheel of a cannon and shot. Also a martyr of charity. A bullet can send a saint to highest glory. It is well to remember on these anniversaries that we too are not here for keeps. Wordsworth talks about the still sad music of humanity. The bottom line is getting home safe and sound and hearing the cry of victory and the music of the spheres. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus,